Ethan, this mission of yours is gonna cost you dearly.
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 things to remember before watching Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1.
This is far and away the most dangerous thing we've ever attempted.
For this list, we're looking at the most important details to keep in mind in the lead-up to the release of this 7th installment. If you haven't seen the first 6 Mission Impossibles, beware of spoilers. Will you be accepting your mission of seeing this in theaters? Let us know in the comments. Number 10. Release date. The Mission Impossible franchise has gotten quite comfortable coming out in the summer months. This one will be no different, releasing on July 12th, a Wednesday. It was previously slated for late September 2022, but seeing as Tom Cruise's previous effort, Top Gun Maverick, was still in the box office top 10 at that point after 4 months of release, Paramount was wise to bump it back.
The end is inevitable, Maverick. Your kind is headed for extinction.
Maybe so, sir. But not today.
As it stands, Dead Reckoning Part 1 faces stiff competition, coming out 2 weeks after Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny and 1 week before Oppenheimer and Barbie.
Looks like this beach was a little too much beach for you, Ken.
If I wasn't severely injured, I would beat you off right now, Ken.
I'll beach off with you any day, Ken.
Anyone who wants to beach him off has to beach me off first.
I will beach both of you off at the same time.
Beat both of us off?
Nobody's gonna beach anyone off.
Can Mission Impossible similarly still be in the top 10 come November? Well, we learned a long time ago not to doubt the power of Tom Cruise.
His fate is written. Shall we write yours too?
If anything happens to them, there's no place that I won't go to kill you. That is written.
Number 9. It's been reported as the first of a 2-part finale.
Your days of fighting for the so-called greater good are over.
When it was first announced that Mission Impossible 7 and 8 would film back-to-back as Part 1 and Part 2 of an extended adventure, many assumed it was the beginning of the end for the IMF. After all, Tom Cruise can't actually do this forever, as he'll be turning 61 just 9 days before the film's release, though he certainly doesn't look it. So, though not official, Dead Reckoning is expected to be the end of the franchise, at least in that capacity.
You've no idea the power I represent. It knows your story and how it ends.
We all know that 2-part finales were a huge trend in the early to mid-2010s, with Harry Potter, Twilight, and The Hunger Games all going down that route. Well, until Divergent made that uncool by failing to get past Part 1.
Hello? Come on! You think you can ditch me like this? Get me to do your dirty work, and then just wipe me away like the rest of them?
Number 8. A tumultuous production. After that last entry, you might be saying to yourself, whoa, they filmed these back-to-back? No, but they were going to.
You're fighting to save an ideal that doesn't exist. Never did.
Filming was supposed to begin back in February 2020, but then came a global pandemic. Production on numerous films shut down, but none was perhaps hit as hard as this one. After officially getting underway in September of 2020, production halted a month later when a dozen crew members tested positive for COVID-19. Audio of Cruise rebuking the crew for not following safety protocol later leaked online before principal photography officially wrapped the following September.
I don't ever want to see it again! Ever! And if you don't do it, you're fired! And I see you do it again, you're gone.
The production was hectic, but keep in mind that some of the best movies were hell to shoot. A little film called Mad Max Fury Road comes to mind.
If you can't fix what's broken, you'll go insane.
Number 7. Filming locations.
We're here in Norway. We've been constructing this ramp over a number of months. Everything here has to be brought in by helicopter.
Obviously, keeping up the franchise's globe-trotting tendencies during a pandemic proved difficult, but they still managed to pull it off. Much like the last installment, the production visited the countries of Norway and the United Arab Emirates, in addition to Italy and the United Kingdom. There was some controversy over whether a bridge in Poland would be destroyed for the shoot, leading them to settle on the UK. All told, the numerous setbacks have ballooned the budget to a whopping $290 million, over $100 million more than the last one.
It's too late!
No. Come
Somebody get the detonator.
What? How?
I'll figure it out.
It's safe to say that Dead Reckoning Part 1 will want to be the highest grossing in the franchise to stay on the safe side of profitability, but we have no doubt that it can.
Thank you all very much for your help, guys.
Number 6. Returning director.
Hey, McHugh. How are you? Great day, man.
Whereas the first 4 Mission Impossibles were helmed by different directors, including Brian De Palma, John Woo, J.J. Abrams, and Brad Bird, the franchise has since found its stride with Christopher McQuarrie.
Now, Director Hunley has some questions for you regarding Ilsa Faust. Namely, how you framed her.
After first collaborating with Cruise on the first Jack Reacher, McQuarrie has settled in with installments 5 through 8. That gives us incredible confidence in their consistency of excellence. But McQuarrie isn't the only familiar behind-the-scenes player, as Eddie Hamilton and Lauren Balfe are returning to edit and score the film. Though we'll always credit original TV series composer Lalo Schifrin for that banger of a theme. Number 5. Stunts.
Today is day 1 of principal photography, and we are starting in classic mission form with the biggest stunt in the film.
These days, some people come out to see Tom Cruise movies for the stunts alone. And when they're so mind-bogglingly executed by none other than him, we can see why. The big one Paramount is promoting for this installment sees Cruise motorcycling off a cliff before parachuting his way down. The actor reportedly underwent a staggering 500 hours of skydiving training for the shot, which he supposedly nailed on the 7th take. While Cruise called it the most dangerous thing they've ever attempted, McQuarrie claimed that a fight scene atop a moving train involving the former and actor Esai Morales was even more difficult. Well, if it's as good as the train sequence from the first film, we'll be more than satisfied.
Green light!
Number 4. Where we left off. Okay, time to get into story details.
Why won't you just
When we last left Ethan and the Impossible Missions Force, they had just prevented the Apostles from killing off a third of the world's population and upsetting the global hierarchy. Its leader, Solomon Lane, is once again apprehended, traitor August Walker is killed, and the IMF live to fight another day. Solomon Lane actor Sean Harris isn't slated to appear in either Dead Reckoning, meaning his days of villainy might finally be over.
I'm handing Solomon Lane back to MI6. Through a broker, of course. Part of our ongoing arrangement.
Meanwhile, Ethan reconciles with his ex-wife Julia before the team is left to once again wipe their brow at how close they came.
How close were we? The usual.
Usual.
Please don't make me laugh.
We don't yet know exactly how Fallout will play into Dead Reckoning, let alone what the timeline between the two is. Number 3. Returning characters. Now, if we're talking about characters that will be coming back, you'll be pleased to know that the cast list looks very familiar.
Ethan, what's your objective? What's your ultimate objective?
Longtime IMF sidekicks Luther Stickle and Benji Dunn are back in action, as is former MI6 agent Ilsa Faust. Then there's Vanessa Kirby's Alana Mitsopoulos, aka White Widow, whose debut in the last film was very well received. Oh, and apparently some guy named Ethan Hunt.
Your life will always matter more to me than my own.
Perhaps most curiously is the return of Henry Czerny as Eugene Kittredge, the former director of IMF who hasn't been seen since the original Mission Impossible movie in '96.
You need to pick a side.
His presence here may be an indication that the supposed beginning of the end may also be going back to the beginning.
I can understand you're very upset.
Kittredge, you've never seen me very upset.
Number 2. New characters. A lot of incoming Mission Impossible characters make one-off appearances. However, they're usually memorable, and the new blood here looks to do the same. Serving as the primary antagonist is Gabriel, played by Esai Morales, who stepped in when Nicholas Hoult had to step down.
It's been a long time, fam.
At Gabriel's right hand will be an assassin played by MCU actor Pum Klementieff. Another familiar MCU face is Haley Atwell as Grace, a mysterious character who's been described as a, quote, destructive force of nature and, quote, somewhat ambiguous.
The world is changing. Truth is vanishing. War is coming.
Rounding out the cast will be Shea Wiggum, Rob Delaney, and Carrie Elwes, to name a few. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. The plot. The big question remains, what is Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1 about? As of right now, we don't entirely know, but we cannot wait to learn more as it unfolds.
Listen to me. The world's coming after you.
The official synopsis given out by Paramount alludes to a, quote, terrifying weapon that threatens humanity that the team will have to intercept and keep out of the wrong hands. Seems like basic Mission Impossible stuff.
What is around his foot?
What really gets us intrigued, though, are the apparent dark forces from Ethan's past that seek to play a role, something that hasn't been hugely explored over the series. Couple that with the fact that Ethan must weigh the importance of the mission against his loved ones, and we're already on pins and needles.
None of our lives can matter more than this mission.
I don't accept that.
Light the fuse, baby.
Light the fuse.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.